welcome back to the Pulse. Let's not talk about another issue here, because the gradual drying up of the Volta River is not only affecting power production, the livelihoods of many communities along the river are also threatened. For our latest Holland documentary, Volta Struggles, Joseph Obuku traveled to some communities in the Volta region where most young men have abandoned the village and are seeking greener pastures elsewhere because the tributaries of the Volta River have dried up. Here are some of the excerpts.
When the weeds started growing in the river in the 70s, Lawson tells me they made efforts to clear them, but they became overwhelmed, and this is the result. They want government to step in with heavy machinery.
We are just praying to God to help us one day, especially to bring to let it be clear to the government to clear off the grasses from the lake for us.
The situation is same in many other communities through which the Volta River used to run. I pay a visit to Mafia Clamado, another former fishing community. As 70-year-old traditional leader Gershon Kofi Gisenu explains, the river which used to pass through this community was not only a source of fishing, but also occasionally flooded the lands around the community to help crops develop.
Since the Akosombo Dam was constructed, 1963, by that time I was in middle school Form 2. They dammed the river. That was the last flood we have seen. From that time up to now, there was no flood. So the weeds started growing. Then it has become a complete land now. Though the water is under the grass is so thick that you can walk on it now.
This bridge used to sit over the river, and the entire area you see used to be portions of the water body that no longer exists. More than 10 communities in the area have been affected by the situation. Gershon says the problem is a major contributory factor to deepening poverty in most communities along the Volta River.
Though we have benefited from the dam some way, in fact we are suffering. The people in the lower Volta are actually suffering because we have lost all our natural resources, which is fish and fertile land. So the poverty level has become so high in our town, this part of town, very, very high. That is why you cannot stay at home. The few who manage to stay here are in complete poverty.
The majority of the population in Mafia Clamado now consists of mainly children and the elderly. The young people have abandoned the area to go look for alternative sources of livelihood. A assembly member for the area, Godfred Oscar, is worried about the problem.
One thing that we always forget is the mass exodus of our youth from these communities to the urban centers and other busy areas, because there is nothing they can do after their basic education. They usually go to look for greener pastures. So that is one of. So if you come through the communities, you see that it's made up of grown-ups or old ladies and old men living with their granddaughters, and the youth mostly they are away.
Right then, so let's delve into this matter a bit more. Carl Fiati is with the Environmental Protection Agency, joining us this afternoon. He's in charge of this particular aspect to do with the weeds we're seeing in the Volta River. Thank you, sir, for joining us here on the program.
Yeah, thank you.
Right, so first of all, you're quoted in a recent report as saying that if care is not taken, the Volta River could dry up in 10 years. Why is that?
Yes, that is correct. Since the construction of the Akosombo and subsequently the Kpong Dam, there has been some changes in the hydrology, the flow of the water, and that has led to the proliferation of these weeds and the rate at which these weeds are expanding.
Okay, if you could just speak up a bit for us so we can hear you.
Yeah, the rate of expansion of the weeds suggests that we are losing water and we would subsequently end up drying up substantial portions of the lake.
Okay, so if we know what the challenge is, What does it take to fix it, and why haven't we done it?
Yeah, the problem involves trying to remove the weeds. So there are various ways by which you can remove the weeds, either by doing that manually, which communities have been empowered to do, but the rate of regeneration is higher than what their efforts can cope with. So, so there is also the mechanical means of removal. The Volta River Estates has been doing some work, the Volta River Authority. The EPA has also acquired some harvesters, which is being operated by the Volta River Authority. But it seems the rate of regeneration will need more equipment and further measures that entails the change of attitude, the reduction in the nutrient loading of the water. So multiple aspects of measures.
Now, I know the EPA launched the Integrated Management of Invasive Aquatic Weed project in the year 2012. Now, you had money from the African Development Bank, some $3 million to deal with the weeds. What became of that project?
Let me make a correction. That was $1.9 million.
Okay.
Yes, the project was meant to go over 5 years. So between 2012 up to date, the project has ended. We were expecting that the capacity that we had built in communities would be mobilized to deal with the weed infestation close to their communities.
So the 1.2 million was used for what? Buying equipment or just sensitization?
It was first of all used to buy hard and soft equipment. Some community had boats, outboard motors, and manual equipment for clearing of the weeds, together with some equipment to assist them to compost the weeds into manure for agriculture.
Did that happen? Did they do it?
Yes, some communities did it. They dedicated themselves to it. The challenge for some of them was the marketing of the compost. They could not effectively market, so with time they actually gave up.
Okay, so once this program, there was some level of success, but there were challenges as well. What then do we do differently? Because it's one thing saying there's a challenge, we need to do more, we need to commit resources, but how do we commit the resources such that we don't come back 5 years time and say, yes, we did some work, capacity building, buying equipment, but we still have this challenge? Because people are dying, mind you.
Yeah, the EPA, in some discussions with the European Union, under the we call it banana accompanying measures, proposed to assist with some equipment. Unfortunately, the two attempts at putting the project on tender did not get a favorable results.
Why?
We wanted to procure some additional harvesters and also equipment that could be used to compost. Unfortunately, we did not receive the right response, and so with time that facility died down. Okay. So we're looking at other means to look for money to be able to.
Is it that the EPA is not well resourced to handle this kind of challenge?
Yes, in actual fact, it's not within EPA's direct mandate, but we realize that
Who says it, sir?
Yes, the law says that the polluter must pay
VRA
for the pollution. Yes, partly VRA, partly with all the users of water. And if we say VRA, then by implication, everybody who benefits from the use of hydropower must contribute to the solution.
So why then are we not looking at that, but rather looking for donor support in getting the money to do this?
You know how sensitive power tariffs are in this country, and so whilst discussions go on about making every user of electricity pay for the cost of solving the problem, we need to look elsewhere whilst to try and address the problem.
Okay, so in wrapping up, sir, what does the EPA need? How much do you need and how do you want this project done to ensure that the casualties we're seeing up north in the Volta Lake is reduced? Because we are seeing too many people die as a result of tree stumps in the Volta Lake.
Yeah, tree stumps issues are apart, separate from the water weed problem. That is also an issue that has to be dealt with on its own. But with the water weed, we would require some additional 2 harvesters and 2 batches, one located above the dam and the other located south of the dam, to be able to deal with these problems.
Okay, so how much do we need to fix this problem once and for all?
Yes, the country needs about $4 million to be able to bring this problem to sub-economic levels.
To fix it totally, how much you need?
You see, when you allow water weeds to grow up to a certain point, you can only manage it. You can never fix it totally, because as you remove it, keeps on regenerating. We have slept over this problem, and so
who slept on
Ghana slept over this problem.
Who specifically slept on this problem? Because when you say Ghana, it's regional.
Yes.
Who specifically slept on this?
Ghana slept on the problem.
Who, sir? Someone should be in charge of handling this. Who, sir?
Yes.
Is the EPA?
Well, this problem started before the agency was formed. Remember, the dam was created in 1960. Was it 65? And so
what, VRA?
Yes, but you cannot hold VRA entirely.
Because when you say Ghana, it's too general. But
yes,
okay.
Ghana, because people are discharging waste into the dam as well, so
and that should stop.
They are also part of it. Yes.
Okay. Unfortunately, that's what I will allow for now. But thank you, sir, for joining us today. I'm sure the problem is clearly amplified, and what we need to do is clear before our eyes. We need $4 million to deal with these weeds in the Volta Lake. But thank you, sir, for joining us. Carl Fiati is head of renewable natural resources at the Environmental Protection Agency, joining us this afternoon here on the Pulse. We'll go for a quick break at this point. We'll come back, and you know already that for the USA, they are preparing for the elections. If Uncle Sam sneezes, we all catch a cold. What's in it for Ghana? Why should we be interested? And how are things looking like for us in terms of the US policy and its effect on Ghana? Details of that and some analysis here on the Pulse after the break. Stay with us.